Okay.
Shall we just start? We already have some viewers. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's review. Let's review
go.
this footage, yeah?
Let's go. Okay, I had some songs going, so let me remove that. Okay, I tried to play only 2 Zoom. I think if I played more, it would definitely be overwhelming. To be fair, if I was streaming these stakes or streaming any PLO, I would probably just play one tabling.
Right.
Not sure if you want me to comment on those hands, but I think they're all folds.
Yeah. I mean, let's not focus on every hand. Let's try to be more productive than that. Right.
Okay, this is interesting. I even thought about rebetting, but I reminded myself from the last session, so decided to even just go with the direct fold. The thing is here, he's min raising, so it could be like maybe an incentive for us to just call. But I decided to just go with the folds.
Yeah, I think calling would be great against the min raise. You know, especially if we don't expect people to squeeze light, because obviously if the big blind in this case would be squeezing a lot, then calling even a min bet. But you know, hand is quite okay to call a min bet, but never mind, that's not a big mistake.
Okay. Okay, we have first hands. Yeah, not sure if that's a defense. I'm just trying to play tighter. I think it's pretty much disconnected. Also an offsuit, one of the combos.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's still a defend though. I mean, we want to defend almost everything against small blind.
Okay, that's new for me.
I mean, not almost everything. Almost everything is a bit of exaggeration, but you know, this fits. This still is okay. You know, King of 10 connects, 8 and 10 connects. The deuce is a dangler. You have one suit. It's fine.
I guess it's better for me to at least start very nitty and then like start loosening up once I learn things, and then like start really making the small adjustments.
Right.
So I would guess this is like not a massive mistake, even though I folded.
No, it's definitely not a big mistake. Especially like, of course, the percentage-wise, the rake is higher here. So you know, this hand is close to begin with, and with the higher rake, it's getting even closer. So
okay, we have a question. What stake is this? Is 5 PLO. 5 PLO, or should I say PLO 5?
Probably PLO 5.
Okay.
Or 5 PLO. I don't know, because PLO 5 can be referred to 5-card PLO, right? I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, it's the 5-cent big blind game. There you have it.
Yeah. Agree with the 3-bet with aces?
Yeah, of course.
Kind of
so it's funny, like I can already comment on something that you would never or almost never see at the higher stakes. I mean, you 3-bet against early position and
there's
you get 2 callers. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It shouldn't happen. Like, you know, the frequency of this happening if everybody plays GTO is so low.
Yeah, I imagine this is also the same for no limit hold'em. Like 2 an hour, 5 an hour, you're gonna face a lot of these spots. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna go through my thoughts, then you can comment later. I think.
What happened on the right? Did you just fold Ace King? What was it? Ace King Jack?
Ace King
something.
Jack 5.
Ace King Jack 5.
Okay, on small blinds. First 2.
Right. I mean, it's smaller than pot size open as well. I would prefer to see a call.
Okay, it's because like
seeing the board 4-way, and you know, your hand has a nut suit, so suited to the ace, and it's not ace king of clubs, which would be a bit different. It's ace jack of clubs, so somebody potentially can have king high clubs, and you can stand to win a huge pot. Yeah.
And also, it's like this is something that's probably something that comes from no limit hold'em from my game, because like I rarely will call the small blind here whenever there's an open. So that's probably like autopiloting and like also already on my mind of folding these hands. But I understand I have to do way more of those calls on PLO. I actually did one or two on this session with like a little bit better hands, but yeah, maybe we'll see in the future. But I started to understand like how flat there is some flatting going on these games.
Yeah.
Okay. There's another question. Artur, thinking of transitioning to PLO or just for the sake of the video? Not only for the sake of the video, I would say I actually like the game, and it has been fun on the first video how bad I was, and like how, let's see how if I did improve or like how I improved on this game on the second video. And I look forward to do more, like maybe even like grind a little bit more in the future, not fully transitioning for now, not any like deep thoughts into it, but definitely putting like giving it a chance, I would say, which I guess makes Runchuks very happy.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting here smiling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what you're gonna
So
do
yeah,
then.
my thoughts here is these guys, like, so basically my thinking here is like I basically lose to two pairs and sets, and I start to think about their ranges. Specifically, these guys are not going to have too many pocket threes and pocket fours, so I don't have to worry much about that. And I'm blocking the king, so there's not much pocket kings going on. So of course, like we're still afraid of like losing to some stuff, but there's not many on their ranges, so I'm not very much afraid of like c-betting this flop, for example, even though it's like
Yeah.
first three opponents. And I have position versus most of them, so my thinking here is to even if I put a small bet here, I'm basically able to jam any turn, even if there's only one caller. So I didn't want to go too big because like basically accomplished the same. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I see your reasoning, and I would go for pot size bet here myself, but I don't see your play as a mistake.
Okay.
It's just, it really depends on how we want to play our range. In this case, there's a lot of hands that we would like to see bet small. This specific hand benefits from us betting big,
Okay.
just because even though you say we can call pretty much every turn or stack up on every turn, it gets a bit ugly. And the thing is, we would like to charge maximum against any flush draw out there.
Yeah, I thought about the flush
Right.
draws. Yeah.
So theoretically, this spot in general should never happen. You like three bet against early position, you get two extra callers, you're seeing the board four way. It's just ridiculous. But with what has happened here, it kind of makes me think that somebody is just going to stick it in with the flush draw, so might as well charge them the maximum on the flop.
I'm starting to
Right?
recognize that as well. And also, it's
Yeah.
like probably better to isolate versus only one opponent. While if I bet small, I might isolate like versus two, which is like
Exactly.
bringing my equity down very much.
Exactly. And
So I kind of
somebody will
understand now.
stick around with like a random 4x or a gutter. Like imagine somebody calls, like the first player calls with a flush draw, the second one has 6-5 with backdoor diamonds, and he would think like, oh, this probably is good enough. And then all of a sudden you have four callers, which is obviously you're still doing great, but to maximize your EV, you would be better off just shoving here.
Okay, I understand.
But again, I mean, this spot should happen so rarely that, it's...
Let's see what happens. If you see some of the hands like that I folded on table two, and you would like to come back, just let me know.
All right, sure.
Okay. And now, like, basically I have the same feeling. I'm blocking the most possible sets that they might have. Like I have a pretty strong hand. Basically unblocking a lot of their draws, so I just decided to jam. Like not too much afraid of sets of fours or threes.
Yeah. What? I mean, okay.
Well, that's what I call a good hand, a good flop.
Yeah, that's quite impressive.
Yeah. Decided to go for a check raise, which is quite interesting versus two like what it tends to be recreational players at least.
Yeah.
Like, but with that much of a strong hand, with that much equity, I guess it's not a big mistake. It's hard to go wrong, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to go wrong. I would personally prefer, considering that we have two recreational players, like a small bet.
Okay.
Start with one third pot size bet, just to allow them to stick around with a diamond draw, because they're unlikely to bluff a diamond draw here, right? So you just maximize value against weaker hands. And with the strong hands, you're getting it in whatever happens. You bet or you check raise, doesn't matter. I mean, against the straight, you get it in. Against the set, you get it in. But what happens against like, a gutter plus diamonds, you would be making more money by making a small bet here.
Okay. Yeah, it's
But
like
let's
same
see
concept
that-
as no limit. Also, like when there's fishes in the pot, you just basically play the hand and like the value of your hand, and then try to get the most money of them. Like unless I had the like if I for example if I had like a read for example on this cutoff that he's aggressive or something like this, then I'm definitely liking the check raise. But with no reads, that it's like I don't have a HUD or anything else here. I just prefer betting, like getting the value from the recreationals.
But it did work out for you, huh?
Yeah, it did.
So let's see if you get 2 callers on the flop as well after the check raise. That would be funny.
This is snap jam.
Wow. Okay. Now, of course, the famous king high flush draw with a gutter. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's just stick it in. Well done.
Okay, we have.
I mean, can't really blame him. Of course, he has a lot of equity, but this is one of those hands when if you would have bet small, he's likely to raise. So in fact, you would be making slightly less money because the player on the blind, he would just fold. So it worked out perfectly for you. But at the same time, after you check raise, his shove is just, one of those plays when people just don't know what to do or how to play post flop. So they just decide, okay, I'm just gonna ship it in, and how bad can it be?
Yeah.
Right. But in this case, it was bad because he had like probably 9% equity or something. So
yeah. We had some people saying hello in the chat. How's it going, guys? Welcome, welcome. Also, bless you for my noisy snitch.
Sneeze.
Yeah, sneeze. And yeah, thank you, by the way. Let's keep going.
Let's keep going.
Okay, isolating here. Is there like, it's just, this is another thing from No Limit. It's just like you isolate a lot when the small blind limps. Is it something on PLO or like?
Yeah, you isolate roughly close to 50%, I would say. But obviously that's against somebody who actually has a decent limping range. If somebody limps like 2% and always limp raises, it goes out of the window, right? But yeah, you're right. In general, like theory-wise, you do isolate a lot.
Oh, we see Show of Force in the chat. Show of Force is a high stakes player. Also, Runchuks plays No Limit Hold'em, and he used to be, just to tell the story, but he introduced me to streaming on BluffTheSpot, and I was playing 5NL back in the days. Right. And he was one of my first coaches, so most of everything I know today is thankfully to him and to BluffTheSpot, of course, but it's thankfully to him. So shout out to Show of Force there in the chat. And we have a straight on the flop. Okay, this hand is very interesting. I end up pot sizing the flop after isolating pre, and we face a check result.
Right.
I thought about 3-betting, but there's always like this feeling in PLO he can have the nuts very easily here with the limp with the limp call with like a lot of 3-6 hands. At the same time, we unblock any flush draws. We don't have any flush draw possibilities. It could be the case, like because like a 3-bet is almost a gem already, so we kind of protect a lot. I have the feeling I might have made the mistake by just calling here. Not sure what's your idea.
No, I prefer just calling. I don't think we have any business 3-betting. Not because of we should be afraid of things, but just because we, like most of our range, doesn't want to 3-bet here at all. We want to take a card, and fortunately, like if we're facing, let's say the 6-3 and the diamond comes, the opponent will slow down. We're going to lose a smaller pot. That's great. If he does have a diamond draw, then and keeps betting on a diamond, well, we can safely fold. So we're just better off using the position instead of just shipping it in. So yeah, just calling using the position works out better.
Not the best of the turns. I suppose he can check a lot on this turn, and like slow play a lot of full houses. And I thought to myself, like, since it's so natural for him to be checking here, I decided to check behind, I guess.
I
Also,
like the check
yeah,
behind,
okay, yeah, good. Good, I'm getting the idea. And now it gets very tricky again. I am very curious to see what you say about this play. Would you just check
Okay.
behind?
I would just check behind, I suppose that's not the play you made, right?
Yeah. I went to the thin value bet, maybe
No,
trying to
I
target some
don't
kind of
really.
5x that he ever checks the turn. But yeah.
I don't really like it, but
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's better than jamming or like potting.
yeah,
But,
well, a small bet is better than jamming for
yeah.
sure, but just checking behind is best.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not really getting value. You have a lowest straight on a flush draw board with a full house out there and a higher straight out there, two higher straights, right? 6-7,
Yeah.
6-3.
Yeah.
So you really, really shouldn't bet there at all. And this run out is actually so great for us in a sense that if we would have three bet the flop, which we shouldn't, as I told you, we would have lost it all, right? But a five, which is not even a scary card, like with 6-3 there, he was supposed to keep betting, like slowing down is a bit. He was supposed to
Yeah.
keep betting, right?
On the turn,
So
you
in
mean?
fact, yeah. So in fact, by just using your position and by just calling, you ended up saving some money, and it's great.
Cool. Okay.
And I mean, this is results specifically against this hand, and against some other hands, you would still make the most of it, but you would make it on your terms, not just sticking it in on the flop and then doing like a flip or something, right?
Yeah, definitely got it. I definitely wanted to check behind also, but I maybe thought about a thin value there, but it sounded too thin now reviewing the video. Thanks for 4Kings Spawn for the follow. Thanks a lot, man. Glad you enjoying the stream. Now you will be able to see and get notifications whenever we start streaming. So thanks a lot. So Showforce is asking, how do you feel about PLO so far, Artur? Well, Runchuks can also say by reviewing my game, but on my first footage, I was a very big fish, specifically pre-flop. I kind of had a clue of what I was doing post-flop, but pre-flop it was like awful. And now in the second footage, we're seeing like a way more solid, maybe Runchuks disagrees, but I at least feels yeah, okay, feels like it's a way more solid game pre-flop, and of course some small mistakes here and there post-flop, but getting way better, I think. Definitely see improvements so far.
Yeah, the key is that after our first video that we did together when we were reviewing hands, you started to get the idea about what is too loose, where's the difference between hold'em, etc., etc., and now you're really utilizing that knowledge. So it's good to see.
Okay. Great. We'll keep rolling.
We have Hey Zimmer Bobs. So we have
the biggest leaf I've seen.
You can keep the footage rolling maybe so that we don't slow down. But the biggest leak, we've seen people at the 25 PLO c-betting way too much. Just about any piece of the board, even multi-way pots, regardless of board texture. We're talking 75% c-bet. It's remarkable, and yeah, it is remarkable, and that's definitely a big leak. But I don't know if that's necessarily a leak that comes from Hold'em. Definitely not. It's just a league that a lot of people have, and that's one of the leagues. There's still so many bad players out there in PLO. But we have two cool hands now. I
decided to pause because like very interesting spots. Okay.
Should talk about these spots. So let's go. So what happened?
Okay, nines.
You opened.
Nines is small blind versus big blinds. I decided to just check call on this flop, and the reason is because I realized big blind is going to connect with this board very easily, and I would most likely, like at least from holding, I would be probably checking my whole range here and only checking, never betting. So just decided to play a range, but I just like noticed this guy is super short, so it might be the case we just want to pot and get it in as soon as possible.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see the pot like betting small would be great.
Okay.
Right. because you just get value from hand. Because like, let's think about it this way. Like if he has a 7-6 somehow, 8-6 or 9-6, so an open-ender with a pair, theoretically he shouldn't be betting once you check to him, right? Um, Probably he still would, because theoretically people shouldn't be doing a lot of things, but they keep doing them. But it would just work out better for you to kind of extract the maximum from some hands that will check behind. That being said, checking is cool because it allows people to stab, because they will see this board and they will think like, oh, I connect to it so much better than the other guy, which is definitely not the case. I mean, you opened the small blind, so you connect pretty decent with this board. And he does as well, but in this case, I would bet, but check raising is cool. Check calling, I don't know. Against this stack size, probably check raising is best.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just gonna stop my dog from barking. 1 second.
Sure. How are you gonna do that? I wonder what is Arthur gonna do to his dog now. All right. So Show Force also saying, yes, since the game revolves around draws a lot, I'm guessing you take that into account when building 3-bet ranges. Yeah, I suppose that's back to the discussion we had with a hand King 9 8-7 double suited, and that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back to the action. So I actually decided to check call. To be fair,
Okay.
My fear was this board is going to change a lot to the turn, and I wanted to wait a little bit before pushing my equity on a very high variance spot, I guess, was basically my feeling. I will definitely check raise with something like 7s or 8s here, because it needs more protection. But I have the feeling like there's not much of a difference with 9s too, because it needs a lot of protection as well. And he's short, so it's not like there's going to be much space to fold.
You don't even need that much protection, because you have the nut gutter.
Yeah, I thought about that as well.
And
the backdoor flush draw.
Because the jack is now giving you the super nice straight, right? And plus, a 6 also gives you a decent-ish straight. All the sets, backdoor spades, etc. But just, against his stack size, you're better off just trying to get it in. Because, if he bet for whatever reason with a flush draw, which he shouldn't, like a bare flush draw, he might still call it off if you ship it.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
Whereas if you just call and then you check on like a deuce of clubs turn, he will check behind, and you miss the opportunity of making the most of it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. See what happens. This 3-8 is very interesting. Very bad turn, I suppose.
Yep. Bad turn for many reasons, because if he had a hand that he was going with, and you were ahead, but now he slowed down because of hearts. Wait a minute, you decided to
the thin value
bet here again.
It's just something that works so well on micros on no limit holding. So it's just this is probably an addiction by me here, or something like an addiction of my game.
Because there's basically 3 straights out there, and a flush, and you have the top set.
I saw that coming after I bet about it. I saw that coming. I literally saw that.
Okay. Oh well, yeah, but definitely shouldn't value bet there.
I definitely understand the concept. I guess we don't need to be too deep into it. And very interesting here. I was kind of ready to fold the turn, to be fair. And of course, hitting the 8 and having the odds, the draw to the full house, I guess we cannot fold anymore. And he makes only half pot, so yeah.
Right.
But very interesting.
What happened on the flop? Did you just check or did you bet?
Yeah, I just checked.
Yeah, so check call, check call. Yeah, I like the line. I mean, I'm probably even calling the river against most people because he's just gonna show up with kings with the club way too
Interesting.
often without the flush. I mean, okay, it's he's always betting small, I
Yeah,
suppose, but still,
he
I mean,
bets pot on the flop and then half pot on the turn, and now he's gonna pot the river.
yeah, I would still check. I mean, it sounds to me like it's yeah, of course, some decent chunk of the time you're beat, but he's just gonna have way too often kings with the club or stuff like that, you know.
And you can see it was a tough decision for me. Banking. I suppose I folded, to be fair.
I don't hate the fold, but just specifically against, you know, in this situation, I would probably not fold. Aces, short stack. Are very strong, but are they still very strong 100 BB deep? Yeah, they're very strong 100 BB deep as well. They're really strong at any depth, stack depth, to be honest. So
Okay. Yeah, we finished the video.
nice, cool.
Some bigger mistakes towards the end, where he ends up like at the beginning was more easier, like flopping good hands. But when it started to get more a little bit of the variance, I end up making a little bit more. Definitely way less mistakes than the last one, so I'm pretty much happy with it. Maybe we have a third review next month if you are up to it. And
Yeah,
keep
I'd
seeing
be
the
in for it. I,
improvements.
I always enjoy these, especially it's cool to see your progress. You know, it's quite interesting. It's good fun, and we had a lot of spots where I think we even managed to go a bit in depth into theory, and hopefully people found it informative.
Cool.
And yeah, and like you said, like in general, yes, you were still making mistakes, but they were different kinds of mistakes. Still, there were some plays pre-flop that you know that were not perfect,
Yeah.
but mostly the mistakes pre-flop were on the smaller side, like much smaller compared to the huge mistakes you were making before. Post-flop, we had some fun seeing that you know, a guy with trip aces doesn't actually have a full house on the ace ace queen queen board
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
flush
yeah.
one. That was the highlight for me.
For me too, that was the funniest spot for sure.
But you know, one thing that was interesting to see your eagerness to make these so-called thin value bets in
Yeah,
spots where
it
it
has to
makes sense
stop.
in hold, definitely doesn't make sense in PLO.
Yeah.
Right, and again, it's super easy to fix, right?
And is
So
there like just to one last question from me? Is there thin value? Like you see a lot of thin value going on PLO, or it's just more what can I say? More an a wholeness game on the river, where
oh no,
people
of
just
course there's a lot of thin value, but the what is thin value is different
yeah,
from
yeah,
hold'em.
yeah, exactly. That's
It
what I
doesn't
thought.
mean that there's less spots where we can make the thin value bet, but it's just, you know, sometimes bottom full house is a very, very thin value bet,
Yeah,
you know, and it
true.
sounds very different to how you would consider a thin value bet on the same board in Hold'em.
Cool, man. Thanks a lot once again.
Yeah.
Basically, very
Thanks,
enjoyable
thanks
for
for
me.
having me on stream. Thanks for everybody who tuned in and people active in the chat. That was really cool to
Yeah,
have you here.
not only having the video reviewed, but also playing the PLO is also a fun part. Like having a new game and thinking about it. So like the part of recording the video is also fun for me.
Yeah, cool. Well,
But yeah,
so let's do one more next month. That'll be good
let's go.
fun.
Let's go. Thanks for all
Anyway,
the
and
yeah.
guys, for everyone who's still here, so let me just tell you that next week, and by the way, first of all, I'm going to be doing a live play video on, not a video, a live play stream on Sunday, 1 p.m. European time, CET. So tune in for that if you have time, Sunday, 1 p.m. Next week, I'm going to do at least a couple streams. We're going to do one together with D. Boris, reviewing footage of one of our students. So tune in for that. That's going to be fun as well. And as always, if you want to reach out to me, find me on Twitter. In fact, how do I post my Twitter name here in the chat. How about this? There you go. So you can find me there, reach out to me, and you know, that's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Guys,
thanks everyone.
Go ahead. Last words?
Yeah, these are the last words.
Okay.
Thanks everyone, right?
Yeah.
You,
Thanks for
you all
watching,
have
guys.
a good evening or whatever time zone you're in.
Just an thanks a lot for watching. Have a very nice weekend. And yeah, thanks again for the followers. See you. Bye.
Yeah, cool. Bye-bye.